What it do, Snack X's? It's your boy Gage. I'm here with jokes. I've got Sin here. You never know which box we're gonna show up in, and you are now holding Snacks Weekly. We begin discussing pop culture news and the things that affect us, the stuff that we like the most, right, guys?
Yeah.
All that giggity geek. All that giggity geek.
Absolutely.
Before we jump too heavily into the show, I want to thank the people who are already here because we was a little bit late. So I just
definitely appreciate
being here already.
Hey, I can at least do that still.
Hey,
what up, Jiggity jokes. You got a job to do.
No, I do not. You see that?
I won't let you do.
I can't.
Won't let you do the thing.
I can do this.
You can't type.
I can do some highlighting and put people so they can see it. But as far as typing now, that Jones like no.
You can't type, huh? You're unallowed. You're unallowed to type. I guess it's on Sin then. You guys on Sin. Look at him working. Look at his concentration face. Look at him working. So now Sin got two jobs.
Look
at him. He's like,
how do I help do this? You just need that link to make it easy for you.
Oh, I have the link.
However,
I can't see the chat.
Yeah, so I never can. Oh, I got it. Oh man, look at that. I got that. Oh shoot. All right, hold on. I got it. What's up, Heather? How are you today? Hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday evening. I want y'all to know it is Tattoo Tuesday, but the tie had to come off today.
It's one of them days.
Oh, there's no two ways about it.
Home and chuck that thing to the other side of the room.
It's like, yep.
Nah, I mean, I'll be honest.
Good evening.
Hey, Mom.
I definitely posted some pictures first, but
as soon as the pictures were done, it was a wrap.
I mean, I'm required to make a poster to do something. But yeah, I'll grab that for you. Meanwhile, Sin, you have a job to do.
Yeah, so let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, and Ellis Mbe. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
Okay. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Got it out there. Slowed it down a little bit. Took the time.
Exactly. You know, didn't want to disrespect his name like that. So
not at all. And we can't have you doing that anyway. You know what I mean? It's important.
No.
I am working on getting your link for you. Give me a second. I get it.
Well, ask me. Do you need the link sent?
Got it. I mean, I just posted it. Hopefully, everybody can see it. It should be everywhere now.
Yeah, it looks like it's everywhere.
So now you have the Beacons link. That Beacons link will officially allow you to check us out across all social media. You can do things like go to our Patreon, which Sin just did a wonderful job of thanking our highest tier Patreon members. But you can also use that to click on our link for our merch. And here's why you might want to do that. So, jokes.
Mm-hmm.
For the new merch.
I'm just going to tell you right now, Wayne Tech is getting the best of you right now.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
No, it's getting you too. It's definitely getting you too. Yeah, just go ahead.
Oh no, what am I talking about? I can't.
You're sharing. Hey. Hey, just
welcome to the Wayne Tech episode.
Just sharing the page.
The Wayne Tech episode.
Just sharing the page. I sent you to the link.
Yes, but I can't put
it. I sent you the link,
but I can't put it in there.
Hey.
Listen.
Calm down. Listen. You can share a page, correct? Correct? You're just sharing the page. That's all. It's a little tricky in here.
Yeah, very tricky.
This is so bad. Okay.
All righty then. Hopefully everybody can see that.
Crystal clear.
And, hopefully that helps. As of now, our Loading Stacks versus Autism shirts for 2023 are live. Jose, can you move the logo to the bottom of the screen for the time being? So anyone who goes now throughout next month, all of the proceeds are going to the Organization for Autism Research, which I did some extensive research. They're like the #1 autism research foundation, and that part of that is because of just how like where all the money goes when they, when it gets donated to them and how it's applied and how it works. So we want for, this is a way that we give back. You can get yourself an autism shirt that rocks that blue. There's not, we narrowed it down so there's only really blue option. But there's a mug and there's stickers and there's even some tie-dye for people who want to do things a little bit differently. A couple of hoodies. There's only a kids hoodie. There are a couple of kids shirts. However, the blue
just isn't blueing.
It didn't quite look like the right blue. So we, it was a little different. It was a little greenish looking and so forth. So we just decided not to do that. But if somebody really wants one for a kid or something like that, I can always add it and put them up there. That's the way to do it. So those are live. Anybody who buys one again now throughout the month of April, we donate the money to a good cause. And we'd appreciate you for doing that. Now, Sin.
Yeah.
Earlier today, Nintendo did like a 13-minute. That's a play. They showed some play for Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Did you get a chance to check it?
I did.
Okay. Jokes, I know you didn't check it out because you don't really care about Zelda, and that's fair. Right? Like you've never really played. Didn't you say you never really played Zelda games? Like it's
never.
Not...
I just never got into them like that. Like I did the first one that came out on the Switch, and just wasn't my forte. But I'll probably play the new one when it comes out. But
don't do it.
Ain't going.
Jokes, don't do it. I'm gonna tell you right now, don't do it, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But before I do, Sin, what are your thoughts on the gameplay you got to see today?
When they said, yeah, we're gonna do this 10, 13-minute, whatever, like gameplay thing. Like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Then they got into it and more so just focused on like new features they added to it. So I was a little bit disappointed, you know what I'm saying? So okay, so checked out the new features. Nothing really to write home about, to be completely honest. Like, okay, they might be cool within that world once you actually get into the game and start figuring everything out, but nothing that they show maybe like, oh my God, that is so amazing. That is so cool. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like, cool. I'm not necessarily impressed, but who knows once you get into it and start really messing with it within the whole how the world's designed and building all that kind of stuff, it could mean a lot more then. But for right now, just on what they showed, it was like, we didn't necessarily need this, but okay, cool. You want to show us some new stuff. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I see Cuddy said he loves Zelda, but the price hike, not feeling that price hike. And I understand it did jump like $20.
Yeah.
Not 10. It was like, yeah, it's 20 because I'm pretty sure the last one was 50. I'm pretty sure. So now this one's 70, which is coming in line with other games right now. However, those games,
those are much more powerful consoles.
They are. That doesn't mean they're better games.
Very true.
Valid.
And that, I think, is the thing that's tricky. You know, I personally feel like Nintendo has probably the best track record, like across all publishers.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo puts out the highest quality stuff always. Like, they just over 30 plus years, their track record is impeccable. I mean, there's a few things here and there, but they're relatively far and few between in terms of like software issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And people are, I mean, it doesn't mean they don't have a dud every now and again.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, people are generally happy with what they get from them, and it tends to always work the way it's supposed to. Where, like, right now, you could pay $70 for anything. You know what I mean? And it turned out that it's not. You know what I mean? And it's supposed to be something that's a much higher quality piece in terms of graphic fidelity and maybe even sound quality on hardware that works at a much higher clip than what the Switch is capable of.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm not impressed. Like, again, but I don't really think Breath of the Wild was all that great. I know there are people who love it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a longtime Zelda fan. I think it strays too far away from what Zelda traditionally is.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't always a bad thing, but there are things about it that just feel like it's not Zelda.
Gotcha.
To me. There are literally no dungeons. And that's what Zelda is. There's no dungeons in Breath of the Wild. And I'm just like, all right, well, then that's not a Zelda game. It's something different, right? And you could maybe call it something different. You could even maybe call it an offshoot. I even think it would have been cool if they had done what they did, but they actually made Zelda the lead character instead of Link. And then it was like, all right, well, you're doing something different. You're using a different character. So sure, weapon degradation is a thing, and that's fine. But like, for me, it doesn't feel the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with this in particular, this is really the only quote unquote direct sequel that we've never gotten to a Zelda. You could almost say Majora's Mask is, but Majora's Mask was made in the same engine within like a year, which is generally unheard of for Zelda titles, period. And normally it could take 4 or 5 years, 6 years for Zelda to come out.
Mm-hmm.
But they basically start from scratch every time. It looks different. It has a different feel almost every time. And they didn't do that with this. And so for me, it's like they've added some things that seem like it's cool. The whole fusion thing they talked about today was it's neat. I'm positive people are going to discover things. They're like, what you can do, which is cool, but still doesn't feel like Zelda to me, right? Gotcha. So maybe if they add in dungeons and it has some of that, then I'd be a little more keen on it, but I'll wait to find out whether or not it has that stuff before I even care enough to, like, I'm not picking this up.
And also, like you said, like the fact that they usually come out so far apart and they always have a different look, a different feel. With this one coming out so far apart, it looks and feels like it's the last game that you're just playing at the expansion pack or whatever of it. You know what I mean?
Nah, Cuddy, them joints are not dungeons. They're not dungeons. They're the closest thing that game has to dungeons, but they're not dungeons. It's not the same thing. But again, it's the closest thing they have to it. But again, I mean, like, there are sequels that exist, but they'll be like there's a sequel to Link to the Past, but it's on like 3DS.
Something like that.
You know what I'm saying? And it came out like 20 years later or whatever. Like, it's just, so like I'm I'm expecting that it's going to sell well. It's going to sell like crazy, and I think people are going to be very happy with it. I do think there are going to be people who are going to be disappointed because it may not change enough. So I hope the story is there. You know what I mean? And that it really does do something that works for the people who enjoy what they did with Breath of the Wild. I think that's and we'll see. Jokes.
Yo.
You played Multiverses.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you played it kind of a lot. Like you seem to be like you were into it for.
I think I got a decent amount of time into it.
Did you put money into it? Did you buy like characters?
I did buy some skins because I know.
Why are you shaking your head like that, Sam? Like you stitching.
Just saying.
Hey, I didn't go crazy. I know because Shaggy became my main as I was playing it. I did buy a couple of his skins to have one there. Unlocked a few, and I bought a few just to kind of have all his stuff for it. But that was the only one that I really invested some money into.
Did you? I sent you a text message earlier this week.
Mm-hmm.
You want to see that?
Oh yeah.
You want to tell me? You want to tell me
the fact
you want to tell me about it?
This whole entire time, the whole entire time that this has been out, it's been an open beta. So I'm gonna say that loosely, but
hold on. So hold on. So Multiverses posted a tweet. I'm gonna read that tweet. MVPs, thank you for the support during open beta. The feedback and inspiration has been amazing. Open beta will close on June 25th as we prepare for full launch in early 2024. Multiverses will be back better than ever, with new content, features, modes, and more when we return. Now, Jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know Multiverses was in beta?
I thought when they first allowed you to get access to it, yes.
Mm-hmm. That was last summer, right?
Right. But I thought we got to a point where it seemed like we shifted out of that as more characters and things showed up in.
Bro, what season are they in?
We're like in season 4, 5 at least.
Not quite. They're at least in season 2, I think, and they were going into season 3. But they got through an entire first season.
Yeah.
Moved into a second season. You have seasonal content drops and a battle pass.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in open beta? You're not. This is not a full game. I'm so confused. And I'm going to tell you what I think makes it like everybody's like, no, this joint couldn't have been an open beta. Do you remember that we watched and did reactions to the Game Awards this year? Do you remember what game
won fighting game of the year? It was Multiverses.
Since when does a game that's in open beta, that's in beta form, since when is it even allowed to be considered?
That's a good point.
To be in the running.
That's a good point.
For any, at all, for any award other than best game that's in beta. I don't this is. Are you kidding me? Are you telling me that this joint won best fighting games over games that are full releases? This isn't even a full release. Whose pocket is WB in?
Somebody's to get that award if they're still in beta.
Here's what's tricky about this. And I just want y'all, this is going to be a very video game heavy episode. Here's what's tricky about this. They said they are shutting down June 25th. Everything's going offline. They said any purchases that you made, anything that you have, will be available to you when they come back in 2024. Next year. Let's go around the horn. Sin, will this game be back next year? Oof.
I'm gonna go with yeah. I'm gonna go with yeah.
March or later? By March or later?
Later.
Later than March.
Yeah, later than March.
So basically a year.
Yeah.
Jokes. Is this game coming back in 2024?
I think it'll come back in 2024.
Interesting. Why?
I think what they had was a good, decent overall thing they had going on.
When's the last time you played it?
I don't know. That's what I was gonna get to next.
Okay.
Because I know they had a thing where like 80% of the player base kind of just completely fell off. So I think they kind of wanted, because once you got to a certain point and you've gone through the battle passes, you've unlocked a lot of the cosmetics and things that you can do. There wasn't too much more that you could really do other than just getting online, playing against other people.
Season 2 had one character, Marvin the Martian. That's it. There's a content issue. And I'm gonna tell you something. WB got a lot of characters.
I know.
So that's an issue. Here's what I think. I think that it is much more likely we don't see this game again.
You good over there, Jones?
Hey, I'm fine.
I'm going to tell you why. Who owns this game? WB.
Right.
Okay. What kind of struggles have we talked about time and time again on this very show with WB not knowing what they're doing? Are they even selling their gaming division?
Yeah.
Is Microsoft obviously getting an announcement for an Injustice 3, but we got an announcement. For Mortal Kombat 12, but we got an announcement for Injustice 3. It's WB, it's DC, it's AT&T, it's HBO. Who knows, dog?
And that sucks.
And at some point, right, you would think that this game that was doing very well, that Fortnite was in beta for like 3 years, if you recall. Like that joint was in beta for a long time. And I remember there being debates back and forth on whether or not Fortnite should be considered for Game of the Year and that kind of stuff. Like I completely remember all of that happening. But Fortnite is made good on everything. Their player base never went away. Their updates have always been crazy. This should be a walk in the park. You listen, because the only there's other stuff that's out that does the same thing. Brawlhalla still out there. Yeah, player base is better than theirs, and they're out there snatching up characters. Ninja Turtles doing deals with Ubisoft.
Avatar, I think, was one.
Smash Brothers, no more content. It's over.
But it's still
right.
That player base is super high, though.
Of course it is, right? So if you're WB and you have access to essentially, and let's just keep it a buck, every character in DC, what's your problem?
You can easily throw that in.
How can you have a content drought? How can you possibly have a content drought?
Especially you can pull from anywhere, all your properties.
So here's a question.
You have access to all the Looney Tunes.
I was gonna say. So here's a question. We know they've been, just like you said, they've been in the dabbling of selling or wanting to potentially sell and do certain things. What if maybe they're selling off some of the properties, and within this game, a lot of when this game, let's say it does come back, they're gonna potentially lose like half of the characters in it because of the fact they're selling off certain properties.
That would be a problem.
Again, this is why I'm telling you, I think that there is a much higher probability that this game does not come back. Because while normally you wouldn't expect there to be an issue with licensing.
Mm-hmm.
In this, absolutely, because somebody else could buy them, and unless you go in and you work out a deal, you don't necessarily have those characters in perpetuity.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it is. And I have to imagine that there's something else going on in the background that prevented them from having a pipeline of characters that they were just ready to continue to release. Because
because at one point they were actually doing fairly well with adding like characters on a consistent basis up until they got to season 2.
I'm gonna be honest, dog. I think them saying don't worry, it's not going away. If you look at everything else that's been anything close to what this kind of a game is, Knockout City gone. Like we've been reporting on stuff going away for the past like couple of months, just like all together, right? This seems like it should be easy and it should be simple, and I have to imagine that with the amount of characters and the love that people have for those characters that should be available to them, it should be much easier. And I just don't think I don't think they have it. I don't know. I don't think they have it. And so I don't think if we do see something, I think whatever it is going to be short-lived. I think there's a bigger probability that whatever they bring back, whether it's free to play or not, if they try to charge for it, I think people are going to be like, nope, I'm good. If they come back and it's free to play and it's like, here's more battle pass and here's whatever. And if they can give us a decent run of like, this is when these characters are coming out, maybe. But again, even this week, we're finally at the point where like Avengers is like, oh yeah, last update, we're shutting down. Everything's going free. Here's all your stuff because they had the perfect pipeline. They got all kinds of characters that they could have access to. And they were unable to keep that going and to give us characters and continue to give us content at a clip that made sense. And there weren't enough players and there wasn't enough money coming in. So you have to be able to sustain that. And I don't know that they can do it. And for real, the way that AT&T and Warner Brothers been doing things, they've been like, bro, if this joint ain't making money,
pull it.
You better get lost. You better get lost. And if there was even the slightest inkling, they were like, oh, we about to drop this new Matrix. We're gonna make so much money. We're gonna put all that money into this joint. No, because that joint didn't work.
No.
I don't know, dog. I'm erring on the side that this joint doesn't come back, and if it does, it won't last but a couple of months. It'll be some sort of a shell of what it was, or your characters or whatever will come back. They may give you some sort of access to them because people did pay for something in some manner.
Yeah.
But a year from now, when people aren't really thinking about it and have basically forgotten about the game, and because nobody's really playing it now.
Yeah.
If they come back with some kind of crazy announcement at like next E3, assuming there is a next E3,
right? Game will be launching with 40 different characters or something crazy like that. If they really put something behind it like that, Super Battle Pass, added a whole bunch of characters to start off with, they need to do something like that to grab people's attention again to pull it back in.
But you have to care, and I think part of the problem is that the characters that they have that they're putting, like, look, I understand Shaggy was your main, but the thing is, nobody cares to see Shaggy fight. Nobody wants to see Shaggy fight. Like, if you look at Smash Brothers, there are characters there that seem like they don't make sense, but they all make sense within what they do, how their attacks work, who they are, and they all have nostalgia points in some manner. And if they don't have a nostalgia point for you, they're still a fighter from like Fire Emblem that has a sword or something. Right. And it's like, oh, okay, well, this is somebody who has a sword. They clearly fight. Right. Samus fights. That's what she does. She runs and she shoots and she jumps. What do you do in Smash Brothers? You run and you shoot and you jump. Kirby runs and shoots and eats things and spits things out. He's a fighter. He fights. He does things that are active or whatever. Shaggy runs and hides.
Facts.
So when you take characters like that don't necessarily, I'm not saying you can't make the Tasmanian Devil a cool character that can have cool attacks and stuff like that, but you don't necessarily have that built in with all of these characters that you have access to, again, unless you know.
Yeah, only character they had that I was outside of DC ones, only character they had that I cared about, even wanted to play, was with Arya Stark. And a little bit of Rick and Morty when, you know.
Right, which is, again, makes sense. They got Game of Thrones. It's HBO. You know what I'm saying? It's Warner Brothers. They got that. So there's, could they do a deal and put Joel and Ellie in the joint? Maybe only on PlayStation, because that's how PlayStation.
That's the only way. Yeah, that's the only way that would go.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know, dog. I don't see it, but I guess we'll find out, won't we?
Yes, we will.
We hope.
Well, one way or another, we're going to find out. It's going to come back or it's not. So,
facts. Hey, Jokes. Earlier today, you texted me talking about how Ubisoft pulled out of E3.
Yeah.
Tell me about it, bro.
So, I know there were before. We had some companies that were assuring that was like, "Yep, we're going to be at E3." Ubisoft was one of those companies that.
Well. I want to go back and visit this for a moment, because after the ESA made the announcement that there is in fact going to be an E3, even though Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft all pulled out, EA is already out. Just they didn't have to say it. Like, we just don't do that. After they made the announcement there is going to be an E3, Ubisoft, Yves Guillemot, who is the CEO of Ubisoft, said, we will be at E3.
Yeah, we're showing up. We'll be in attendance.
He said we'll be at E3 if there is an E3.
E3 said, yeah, there's going to be an
E3. Before he said that.
Then he said, like, dang, is there really going to be one? I got to go there. No, we got to figure something else out. Ain't something on the books for that weekend.
I know. My man was looking at that joint like, that joint's probably not going to really happen.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe it just got close enough today. Like, man, E3 in like 2 months, dog. Like, we may, like they might really be trying to do this.
On top of that,
gonna pack up and come out from like France, dog. Like, they got a studio in San Francisco. They don't even really got to go that far. But like, they like, nah, we're not going. So what they say they gonna do, Jokes?
They are gonna do their own thing.
Just like everybody.
So they're gonna do a Ubisoft Forward, right? Which is like, why wouldn't you just do that anyway?
Right.
I'm sure the ESA was continuing to charge a ridiculous amount of money.
Probably went up.
So here's
probably too, yeah.
To align themselves. They said what, June 23rd? What was the date they gave on it?
For E3?
Let me see. Yeah. No. For the Ubisoft Forward.
Ubisoft Forward.
June 12th. That's the same weekend.
Yeah, they say it was still going to be the same time.
Does Ubisoft show up and or have anything on during Microsoft stream? Do they have a partnership or something with Sony at a Sony stream? Are they going to be anywhere else? Are they doing something? Are they partnering with Jeff Keighley? Did Jeff Keighley get an Yves Guillemot?
Yeah, he in that pocket. Oh no, that I'm because Jeff Keighley was one of the first people that shared that post. They were one of the first places that shared that post.
Of course. Listen, my man been trying to break the ESA down for a minute. And there's bad blood there. I don't know exactly what caused it, but I feel like my man was like, let me get a seat on the board. And they was like, no, Jeff.
All right,
you're just a host. Okay. Oh, all right.
Oh, just a host?
I'm just a host. All right, let's find this out.
Holla
Right.
at me in a couple years.
I was gonna say 2 years later.
Exactly.
The Game Awards, baby.
Summer Games Fest. All of it.
And we
Who's
got
else in a lot of trouble
exclusives.
right now? Whatever they're doing with Assassin's Creed, right? I almost don't care what they do. Like
And
that's like I don't like Skull and Bones is apparently still a thing.
I was saying, plus there's a rumor that apparently Assassin's Creed is getting delayed. I saw that earlier today as well. No official
Wouldn't
word on
surprise
that one as of yet, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, but there's also a rumor that Sega pulled out of E3.
Mm-hmm.
What were they going to show?
Something Sonic.
Possible that. Probably some arcade type of stuff. And
Something Yakuza.
yeah, because they got the two
probably
joint.
going to be on a Microsoft stage unless
two
they
of
do
them.
a deal
Yeah.
with Sony to have a like that's so like again, like why would you pay that money to be there to have when you
Yeah.
can just do packs?
Mhm.
I don't know, man. I don't think E3 is gonna make it.
I don't think so.
It doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it.
I think it's a riggedy rap.
Yeah.
All right, so look. Now's the time. Mum's the word. Let's talk about the CMA. Let's talk about Microsoft acquiring Activision.
Oh, you said CMA, you thought you meant Country Music Awards. Okay.
For a split second, I'm about to be like, "Oh, this is new."
Oh, so yeah, okay, we go in a different direction today. Didn't see this one coming. Curveball.
They could have had some, these young guys, man, they could have showed up at the Country Music Awards and played some video game music or something, dog. It's possible. You know what I mean? Showed up and done some country rendition of an anime theme song or something. It's possible. But no. But no. Yeah, E3 was that girl, and now she's not so cute.
Now she got
used to be the thing back in high school. What happened to you, homie?
Now she got 6 kids. Yeah.
Nah,
whatever, remember.
They all that.
Yeah. Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo all grew up and said, "We are moving out."
It's like, we good. We out of here. So let me read this. So
okay.
The Competition and Markets Authority, CMA, not the Country Music Awards.
Gotcha.
In the UK has now sided with Microsoft over concerns the software giant could remove Call of Duty from PlayStation if its proposed Activision Blizzard deal is approved.
Hey.
The regulator still has concerns about the deal's impact on the cloud gaming market and will complete its investigation by the end of April. So I wanna note some of the things that happened that pushed this forward. So in the CMA's original findings, right? They had to adjust their financial models. So when Microsoft rebutted what they said, when they were like, no, if they withhold Call of Duty, it's gonna hurt profits for PlayStation this much, whatever. Basically what they said was, and I'm just gonna read the quote, the CMA used a financial model that compares gains on a 5-year basis to losses on just a 1-year basis. And Microsoft argued that it had clear errors that ultimately skewed the results. So now they've updated the model and admit that Microsoft would actually see financial losses if they withheld Call of Duty from PlayStation. So basically what they did was they had looked at what the financial gain would be to Microsoft over 5 years. Like that was how they did the math. And then they compared that to the losses that it would take over just a year, or that Sony would take over just a year. And it was like, hold on. You can't do 5 years in 1 year. You got to do 5 years in 5 years, or 1 year in 1 year to see what the difference in that actual parity is. So we good. So once they did that and they fixed it, they were like, oh, all right, well then we're good. And basically what it seems like, I mean, again, Brazil already passed it. There are other countries that look like they had passed it, but basically a lot of people seem like they were waiting on the UK and the CMA specifically to make the decision about pushing it through. Now, what's expected, or what was expected, was that there would be concessions or something that Microsoft would have to make in order to help get the deal to go through. But Nintendo's got a 10-year deal. Nvidia, who was originally against, they were one of the companies that came out against the acquisition, signed the 10-year deal, right? So they did the 10-year deal and they flipped, right? Steam said, we don't need to do a deal. They'd be stupid if they took Call of Duty off of Steam. It makes so much money on Steam, they'd be dumb. They'll never get their money back if they don't keep it on Steam. And then they were like, well, we'll give you a contract anyway. And my man was like, nah, we good. I trust them. They always do what they say they're going to do. We're good. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
Steam was cool. And then there were like 7 companies that specifically wrote letters to the CMA like, nah, man, like everything they say they're going to do, they do. We haven't had any issues. Things have actually been better since they bought us, or, whatever. So right now they're just like, okay, which again, they just did a 10-year deal with 2 other cloud gaming platforms. 2 other companies that are considered to be 2 of the biggest cloud gaming platforms, and gave them 10-year deals. I don't think it's going to matter. Right? So, now, here's where the backlash is. We've talked many times about how Sony is making complaints and saying things that just don't really make a whole lot of sense.
Right.
And that the CMA and the FTC here in the US, their jobs are to help ensure that there is fair competition. That is what's supposed to happen. They're not supposed to be trying to protect Sony's market share or to keep Sony from losing market share.
Right.
Their job is just to make sure that what's happening is fair. And if anything, this purchase would make things more fair because Sony has so much market share and so much control. The arguments that Sony has been making, it looks like, are getting ready to bite them seriously. Because now it looks like Sony's own practices are now being investigated to see whether or not Sony is doing things that are in fact working against having fair competition. Okay. Because of the control they have over the market, a lot of which is being brought to the light based on information that was already available from the whole Apple and Epic trial.
Yeah.
So Japan today announced that they're going to let the Microsoft deal go through. They have no issues with it. Right?
I can just picture that Sony office right now. Mother!
Broke loose. What are you doing?
Yep.
I can just hear some office exec with behind his glass windows and closed door.
And
you just hear it coming through the glass.
Sin, listen. That executive was probably in the room with everybody else. He was probably like, excuse me for a minute. And slowly walked to his office and closed that door.
Close the blinds.
And just starts.
Yep.
Back all chill. All right, y'all. So what are we
doing? Paper scattered everywhere.
Reuters today posted Japan's antitrust watchdog said on Tuesday it did not expect a merger between Microsoft Corp and Activision Blizzard to stifle competition, helping clear the way for the Xbox maker's $69 billion acquisition of the Call of Duty creator. The Japan Fair Trade Commission has notified the companies that it will not issue a cease and desist order and close its review on the matter, the regulator said. So that in and of itself, especially being that that's Sony's home country, is damning, to say the least.
Y'all better sign that deal and just be happy.
Well, there's more.
But wait.
Oh, there's more. So, for those of you who are unaware, the U.S. and Japan had a meeting this week. And in that meeting, one of the things that was on the table was trade. between the countries. And one of the U.S. senators, I'm just gonna read it to you.
Oh Lord.
So at a Senate Finance Committee hearing with the U.S. Trade Representative, Senator Cantwell, who is the senator from Washington State, referred to the FTC-defined high-end game market in Japan as being utterly dominated by PlayStation. Quote, I'm told that Sony controls a monopoly of 98% of the high-end game market, yet Japan's government has allowed Sony to engage in blatant anti-competitive conduct through exclusive deals and payments to game publishers, end quote. Oh, Lord. Cantwell went on to suggest that Japan's Fair Trade Commission had failed to investigate Sony's exclusionary conduct and inquired how the region intended to create a level playing field. So Catherine Tai, who represents Japan, said that is absolutely an area that we are primed to address. This and quote, this one is new for me, but let me take this back. I'm happy to follow up with you and your team on this. Oh, all right.
They know.
I know, really. Hey, yo, let this Microsoft thing go through right quick. So maybe they'll take their eyes off.
Whatever you do, just plead the fifth or do something.
I'm sorry, I cannot answer that question as it would possibly incriminate me in my company.
Bruh, it's just like, it's so bad. It's so bad. And it's we have talked about how Microsoft has struggled to gain a foothold in Japan, no matter what they do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Sony pushes this litigation trying to, and they're like, we don't even care. We don't want a deal. We just want to stop the merger. Oh, okay. So there's a couple things I want to discuss about that, but now paperwork. And they're not even letting them go back as far as they wanted to. Again, they wanted paperwork from back to 2013. So they're like, we want to go back to like the beginning of PlayStation 4, Xbox One. They only made them go back as far as 2019. But now that paperwork is out in the open. And so all of these things that are being done behind the scenes where Sony's doing stuff like charging people if they happen to play more off, if they're normally a PlayStation player, but they happen to play cross-play with Xbox and Sony loses money, they charging you that money for it. Going in and doing back-end deals specifically with wording in it that says you can't put your game on Microsoft for this long. You can't ever go into Game Pass or whatever. And they're paying companies to do that, right? Companies that are not companies they own, companies that are outside at a third party or whatever, right? And when you have a monopoly and you own that game to sell, if you want to do whatever, you got to play ball with us. Where again, one of the letters that was written to the CMA was from a indie publisher who specifically said, we publish games on Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, whatever. We have found that on PlayStation, when we release one of our games, like if you're not paying them, if you're not one of their big whatever, they don't do anything to push you to the forefront. You almost can't be found, or whatever. We have found that we can sell more lower player base than we can on PlayStation, even though PlayStation has as much because they do nothing to try to help, or do nothing for us to be seen or, whatever. So now we're at a place where now you're being investigated because the practices that you've had, especially in your own country, right? Like who's really in a position to see what those contracts say?
Yeah.
How come Final Fantasy VII Remake never came to Xbox, even though it seemed like it was supposed to come to Xbox and, whatever? Because behind closed doors, they're doing deals that are keeping it from happening, which is, again, there's nothing wrong with having exclusives, right? And I think that's okay, especially if they're your own titles, right? If you're publishing it, do what you want with it. If you're, if you're paying to make it happen or to put it out,
so be it.
That's on you, right? If you own the studio, do what you want with it. That's on you. But going to a third party and saying your game's really dope, it's really hot, If you let us have it and we get exclusive, we'll put you on our E3 stage. You know what I mean? But you also got to sign this saying you won't do this and you can't go on Xbox. It's okay if you want to go on Steam. It's okay if you want to go on Switch, but you can't go on Xbox.
Nah, don't
you
dare go near that Microsoft stuff.
And those are anti-competitive tactics.
They're calling out Microsoft.
That are designed,
they're calling out Microsoft saying they're scared that they're going to do something like that to them because they do that stuff to everybody else.
Exactly. It's like when your girlfriend accuses you of cheating because she cheating.
Right.
It's kind of like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things. So it's kind of crazy, right?
It's a lot of crazy
for them to be in that position now, because it could really end up changing a lot of things if they actually do investigate this, right? If they really do go in and go, okay, well, you got all this market share, nobody else can take market share. And again, they're not even including Nintendo in it.
Nintendo
because they're calling it high-end console gaming market. They're not just calling it console market. Nintendo's not considered to be a part of that because, as we said, the Switch,
it's behind.
The Wild don't
they're
really
they're just staying in their lane. They're staying in their lane, and
you're late.
Yeah, they don't exactly. So they don't consider them to be a part of it. So it's. Who knows exactly how it's all going to turn out, but it certainly doesn't look like they're going to keep this deal from happening.
No. So Sony needs to just
shut up.
Just shut up and give it up. Yeah.
But here's the thing. And this is the thing that I really, if you just look at what Twitter's doing, just the internet as a whole, and people complaining, Microsoft's going to take Call of Duty, they're not going whatever, right? But Sony won't sign the deal. So if for some reason Call of Duty ends up not being on PlayStation,
that is Sony's.
It's Sony's fault. It's all their fault.
They're giving them the same deal they're pretty much giving everybody else, a 10-year deal. You do not have to worry about it. Call of Duty will
they're
still
offering.
be the
it even includes the offer to have it on PlayStation Plus.
Dog, I can't wait to see Phil Spencer come on a stage and talk about it. Guys, Call of Duty, it is everywhere, but PlayStation, because they didn't want to play ball.
But they won't say that. They won't really be allowed to say that, and people won't understand.
They'll keep it classy.
I mean, look, realistically, there's a part of me that feels like Sony's like, we don't have to sign a deal because, again, what that means to me is that outside of being able to block the deal, they already know that in order for Microsoft to make the money back that they're spending on it, they need the money that comes from PlayStation players buying the game on PlayStation. So regardless of whether they sign the deal or not, Microsoft will put it there. But that doesn't mean that 3 years from now, Call of Duty won't exist on PlayStation, right? Like if they put 2 more titles out and they make that money back, they can just be like, we made our money back. We good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we don't.
And Call of Duty is still there. Call of Duty is still there for another 3 years, right? Because the contract's already in place, right?
I think
yes, but the question was about whether or not that 3 years starts in 2024, whether it started this year. And the last thing I saw was that they're not doing a Call of Duty this year, I think.
I don't know. No, I think there is still one this year. For some reason, I feel like I heard them say there was going to be one this year. And then until this whole entire thing is done, we won't see that transition of going from the 3 year cycle or the every year cycle to that 2 to 3 year cycle at that point for it.
I just it's crazy to me that at this point it's completely possible that I think that there are a lot of people who haven't been following this and don't know and will be angry that Call of Duty isn't on PlayStation, right? But I'm gonna ask you this: whatever Bungie does next, is it gonna be on Xbox?
Probably not.
We're at the 10-year mark of Destiny. And going to Destiny 2, but we're 10 years in. Now that Sony owns Bungie, and I know Bungie said they still have their autonomy. Sony can do what they want realistically. And I'm pretty sure that they said, well, we'll make sure that whatever we do, we want to keep our players and keep our player base and keep people happy. So we don't really have to abide by that, which I could kind of see happening because Respawn did the same thing when they were like, yeah, we're not putting Titanfall 2 in EA Play. Do you remember? They were like, nah, it's not going in there. They should have because that joint got whooped. But they were like, yeah, we're not going to EA Play, and we're not doing a trial. We're not doing like the 10-hour trial thing that everybody else does. You're tripping. But okay. Like the idea, right, that something like this could cause in the long run Sony to not have a choice but to allow Insomniac to put Spider-Man on Xbox.
That'd be funny.
That would be interesting.
That would be funny.
I mean, you really do have to think about what kind of deals Sony has to have been, which they just purchased, but has almost done games exclusively for the PlayStation for their entire existence. They've done one Xbox exclusive, which I didn't like that much, but Sin, you enjoyed it.
Yeah, had a lot of fun with it.
So, but it could end up being that they're like, the competition authorities looking at what Sony's doing, go, oh, yeah, nah, this isn't cool. So you're going to have to open up some of what you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or
That'd
something.
be crazy to see Naughty Dog stuff and Insomniac stuff like the Spider-Man show up on Xbox.
But let's keep it a buck. How much more money could they make?
So much more.
They can make a lot more money because people know there's a lot of people who've never touched those franchises or games before.
Again, you got to remember that the console market, in terms of purchasing consoles to play games under your TV, is quickly changing.
Yeah.
And that the need to have a console is going away. And with that being the case, if Sony's not ready to do that in some cloud-based capacity,
they're gonna have a extra.
They may always sell more consoles than Xbox does. When Xbox is just like, well, you don't need a console to do this, because that's the direction they've been moving in for like the last 10 years.
Yep. Buying all these different properties, Azure, all that kind of stuff, Azure, whatever. Like working on that stuff to get it, fine-tuned and run it. Yep.
I mean, Stadia was one of the biggest proponents of being like, no, Microsoft can't buy Activision. You don't exist anymore.
Yeah, you're gone.
Yeah.
We'll be like, what was that you guys said? You like not? Oh yeah, that's what.
What was the thing? Stadia? What's the name of it? Yeah.
It's just I don't know, bro. And the thing is, Luna's still out there.
Yes.
Working, bro. I got an email from them like 2 days ago.
Some new stuff, some new games you can play.
All Ubisoft stuff is on there, remember? Ubisoft did a deal with Amazon. They picked the wrong team.
I mean, technically they did pick the right one because they could have picked Stadia and then they would have been.
No, they could have picked Xbox. Because even behind that, and again, there's a part of me that believes that there's a shady practice and some kind of something written in a contract. That's the reason why Ubisoft and Ubisoft Plus went to PlayStation. Because if you remember, all of the rumors were
they were going
after EA did that deal, and bear in mind that deal that EA did with Microsoft so that EA Play was only on Xbox, wasn't originally supposed to only be on Xbox. They took that exact same deal to Sony, and Sony was like, no, we're not doing that. Why?
They're stubborn.
Until that joint was working, and Microsoft made it a part of Game Pass. And all of a sudden, they was like,
"Whoa, hold up.
That EA Play thing. Oh yeah, we doing that." So when Ubisoft and all those rumors were like, and then when the announcement was made, it was like, no, it's PlayStation. It's literally the exact same thing as when they were like, Final Fantasy VII coming to everything. And wait. It's gonna be a little while. All right, now it's gonna be forever.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's something in the paperwork, and I'm just waiting for it to come out. I'm just waiting for it to come out.
It's gonna come out the way people want to go through the books and go through all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody's gonna find what that smoking gun is.
They're gonna come across it.
Yeah.
They're gonna get some redacted files. It's like
especially the more that Sony keeps fighting stuff and stuff just keeps coming out. It's
Sony, you need to unredact these files. We need to see these couple.
Especially when you make those blatant statements, when you just like, we don't want your deal. We want to block the purchase.
Right.
It's crazy. But dog, if all the old Tony Hawks just drop in the Game Pass, dog.
Dog, I throw all them Jones in there.
Diablo 4, Game Pass, dog. If World of Warcraft comes to Xbox,
hey, listen, I'm waiting for that. That's the one that I'm waiting for.
That's my problem. That and was a Final Fantasy one.
And jokes will never get you back. Well, we'll never get you back.
We barely got him down.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. We'll never get you back, dog.
Diablo beta was already a problem.
Clearly, because I saw what your level was like, and I'm like, dog, listen. When the game comes out, I just play the game. Nothing carries over. I'm good.
Hey, I went as far as to get to level 20, and so I could get the little extra cosmetic stuff when it came out. But that level 20 actually was pretty easy. It wasn't really a super grind for it. That was literally just going through the story on there.
You know, you don't need to make no excuses, jokes. We know you. We know how you
not making
the stuff, dog.
I'm not making an excuse.
We good, dog. All right, listen. Sin.
Yeah.
How many Elite controllers you got?
2.
Either of them look like that.
Woo! Nope, they don't look like the Bimmy and Jimmy Lee. Nah.
My man Joke said, "Oh my God, a red Elite controller." Oh man, blue and red core controllers. I'm gonna tell you what that tells me.
Shut up, Marcus.
Where the purple and green joints at? Is that where you wanted that?
You can only go to level 25 in the joint.
I mean, again, I can create my own joint and I can make it whatever color I want. So, like, I can go into the joint and do it. Mm-hmm. But what that tells me is that the Core Elite is selling really well.
Yeah.
That white Core Elite joint is definitely selling really well, because otherwise they wouldn't be like, all right, well, let's put more colors out.
Yeah.
People are willing to pay for it. Maybe they don't want to pay for the extra stuff, but they can always buy that stuff later. And that, because even when you go into the design lab, you can design your own controller and not get the accessories if you don't want them.
Yeah.
You can do it without that. So I feel like technically you could have went in and just made one of these.
Oh, no, definitely.
But this will be cheaper. Now your name won't be etched in it.
And
you can't make the back of it a different color from the front of it. You know what I'm saying? But like you could. I think you can still go into design labs and just design just add-on stuff. And buy that separately, which could be kind of clean, buddy.
That's
bro.
Cool.
Yeah, that tells me there's some money brewing in that for them. I think that about settles it for us today, gentlemen.
Cool.
Sin.
Yeah.
Thursday, what's happening in Thriller Park?
Thriller Park. We're closing out the month of March with a movie. We're going to be watching The Island of Giant Insects. I'm almost 1,000% positive this is going to be extremely gory and probably extremely terrible at the same time. And it's probably going to be a lot of fun. I'm pretty sure it is.
It's supposed to be scary?
Yes, it's a horror one. Yeah.
I mean, all right.
Bunch of people get somehow stranded on a deserted island that's full of giant insects. So,
I mean, all right. I don't need no more explanation. That's cool.
Yeah. So Thursday, 8:00. Go ahead and join us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Jokes.
Yes, sir.
WrestleMania 1000 is this weekend.
We're not quite there just yet, but yes, WrestleMania 39 is this weekend. Crew, we will be doing our prediction show Saturday at 2:30. So me, Sin, Marcus, and also BP will be doing our predictions for the show. We'd love you to join. I will tell you, this one's going to be a little bit longer because it's WrestleMania and there's a ton of matches, but we're going to have a good time making some predictions.
It's 2 days, so
y'all
got to do the predictions for all the days. All of the days. Sin, what's happening Friday night?
Oh, yeah. Well, in celebration of WrestleMania, Saturday night, I'm going to jump into 2K, WWE 2K, and do a little streaming before SmackDown comes on.
Specifically on our Twitch.
Yes.
It's not going to be on anything else. It's only going to be on our Twitch.
Yeah, I'm going to go through the My Rise mode where you can make your character. You start from the bottom and start working my way up. So,
what time are you doing that?
SmackDown's at 8, so I'm going to give myself 6:30 to get started. Give myself a good hour and a half in there before SmackDown gets started. So, yeah, 6:30.
I dig it. Monday, you will have a new episode of Spoiler Boys.
Spoiler Boys
for Mandalorian season 3. But you are also going to get a Spoiler Boys for Dungeons and Dragons. Sin and I are going to do that. We're going to have Coop on as a special guest. We're going to record it this weekend somehow before WrestleMania or something on Sunday.
Right.
And we'll make sure that that's up and ready for you on Monday and tomorrow. So, you remember Sam?
No, I remember it slipped my mind just for a quick second, but yeah.
So tomorrow, Shaolin Jazz in DC. If you follow Shaolin Jazz on Instagram, tomorrow evening, Shaolin Jazz does live instrumentation over movies, right? So as the movie's playing, they kind of do their own music and stuff like that. It's DJ, it's really cool. They're doing a Batman movie tomorrow, but Kay is going to be there, and he is going to be showing at Shaolin Jazz beats and beatdowns. That's gonna be pretty dope. We're glad that the folks over at Shaolin Jazz were kind enough to allow us to kind of invade that space a little bit. Kay's gonna have a table where he's got stickers, t-shirts, giveaways, and stuff like that. There are t-shirts that say beats and beatdowns.
Marcus.
Yes, they will come to the store, but right now they're just gonna be at his table, along with those stickers. So there's gonna be a little bit of beats and beatdowns live and direct at Shaolin Jazz tomorrow evening in DC. Again, if you go to the Shaolin Jazz Instagram, just like it sounds, Wu-Tang Shaolin Jazz. You can get that information. I would highly recommend checking that out if you can get to the city. Please do that. But regardless, follow Shaolin Jazz. Good folks. So please check them out. Now, I have a job to do. The chat's being kind of funky to me right now. So,
wait, don't we have a movie club tomorrow as well?
Yeah. I think that's gonna post.
Yeah, you're good. It's
there it goes.
There.
Yeah. So tomorrow night we have our live discussion on the first John Wick, John Wick Chapter 1, as it's called now, instead of just being John Wick. We have our discussion on John Wick. So that'll be tomorrow evening, 8:30. Come in, check it out. Be prepared for the discussion. It's going to be a good discussion. whether we love it or hate it or somewhere in between. There's going to be a lot to say about it. So looking forward to that, which all in all, we're pretty busy over like the next, I don't know, forever. Because also next week is the Mario Brothers movie. So we're gonna be watching that, doing the spoiler boys for that. It's getting out of control, y'all. Like it's getting out of control.
Yeah.
And then there's Easter, so happy Easter to y'all next week. Beacon's link is there. If you would be so kind as to jump into that link again, you can check us out on Patreon. You can also check out our merchandising link. I did give Jokes a link to add to our beacons. Tonight we are live on a new platform called Kick. Kick, kick.com. So it's a brand new platform that is, it seems like a lot of people are moving from Twitch to there because there are some things going on with Twitch and people leaving and layoffs and Twitch taking money from people and stuff like that. And I'm going to keep it a buck with you. We trying to go wherever the people are. It's kind of what we do. One of the things we learn. So where people are, we're trying to be. So Kick is a new thing. A lot of people are going there and doing their streams there now. So I recommend checking them out. Feel free to go there, follow us. We greatly appreciate it. Again, if you're already following us on all the other platforms that we're on, we would now appreciate if you would also go to Kick.com.
Kick.
And
throw us a follow.
Yeah, follow Loading Snacks there too. Yeah. Now, make sure you check out that merch link. Now through the end of April, we will be donating those proceeds to the Organization for Autism Research. So get you a nice little blue shirt. Loading Snacks versus Autism 2023. These shirts have no puzzle pieces. And we were informed a couple of years ago by somebody with all offensive. Not all do, and we didn't know that. We hadn't heard that before, but we took it into consideration. And so this year, no puzzle pieces. But yeah, so again, it's for a good cause. We'd love if you grab one for you to, take a picture, post it, tag us on Instagram, shout us out. Let us know you got it. We'd love to see you wearing it. I'll certainly be grabbing mine. They just went live today. So I'll be grabbing mine and doing some posts. Yeah, Doctor Who. Hit the like button. Smash the like button. For real, hit the dislike button. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
It works the same way. It really does. It really works the same way. So yeah, feel free to do just that. And to hit it on everything. Go back to the Facebook post, hit the like joint. Do it on the YouTube joint. Across the board. Sen, you got a job to do.
Yeah, so let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, and Ellis Mbe. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
You all are helping to keep the lights on. You know what I'm saying? Really do appreciate y'all. Even if you're not in Patreon, you're just here hanging out with us. Again, it means the world to us. So thank you so much for doing that. I always have some words of wisdom for you. I'm going to let Jokes say them, and then we're going to get out of here. Jokes?
Yes, sir. So remember, y'all, just because you got a well thought out plan doesn't make it a good idea.
With that, we're out. Toodles and lose.
Loading Snacks.